during the national anthem.
Who do you expect your next real fight to be with?
Haven't I been having real ones? Who asked the question? You over there?
After watching you spar today, it seems that you plan a vastly increased use of your right hand. Is this true?
I'm planning on using both of them.
Both of them?
Right.
Sonny was uncomfortable dealing with the press. So he'd usually answer a question with one word or maybe just an angry stare.
That's all I know is a few words, and I've said them all.
The Sonny Liston stare became known as.
He was suspicious of everyone. He didn't like reporters or the media or maybe even the public.
He sat there, this 14-inch face, clenching and unclenching, and those cobra eyes staring at you. He was fearsome. The man was terrifying.
It's always been a struggle for any black person who becomes a public figure because your image to the mainstream, to the American mainstream, is defined by essentially a white media. The white press had never encountered a person like Liston. Liston was not used to or did not feel comfortable with dealing with them, didn't trust them, because his experience with white people is that generally they're not out to do me any good.
It was not uncommon to read a newspaper story in which Liston was referred to as a latter-day caveman, a, quote, jungle beast, unquote, and, quote, a gorilla. I mean, it was that blatant.
I was sports editor and columnist for the Philadelphia Daily News when Liston came to town. He had a reputation as a fearsome puncher, as a potential rival for heavyweight champion Floyd Patterson. The problem was his name began to appear on the front pages of the newspaper more than in the sports sections of the newspaper. And immediately that turned off a lot of people. He had a number of brushes with the law, which were quite unusual for a celebrity athlete in those days.
After he busted the cop's leg in St. Louis, he was a branded man for any police department anywhere in the country. All of the Philadelphia squad cars had a picture of Sonny Liston taped to their sun visors.
At least there was an informal push telegraph at work between the St. Louis police and the Philadelphia police. The word had gone out, harass this guy, put the screws to him wherever you get the chance.
Who do you want to fight in the ring in your next engagement?
The man got the title.
Mr. Floyd Patterson, currently the heavyweight champion. Let us ask you this, Sonny. What have you heard are your chances of getting that title fight?
I think it's very good from what I hear.
There was an awful lot of controversy at the time whether this morally reckless person, quote unquote, actually was worthy of fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world.
Well, I've fought all the top contenders, and I've fought my way up to the #1 spot. So what do a man have to do to earn a shot at the title?
Liston's handlers were trying to arrange a fight with Floyd Patterson, the heavyweight champion, and with Sonny's already known ties with the mob and his arrest record, they were having a problem.
Custy Amato, who was Floyd Patterson's trainer-manager, he knew that Floyd Patterson probably didn't have a chance in hell of beating Sonny Liston, and avoided him and avoided him and avoided him on the pretext that Sonny was involved with the mob and that he was an undesirable and that the heavyweight championship of the world should not be contested by a man of his ilk.
Well, when a fighter starts making excuses like he wouldn't want to fight another fighter because of certain things he has did, there must be some doubt in that fella's mind that he can't beat the other fighter.
Liston was very problematic because he had come from prison, because he had these ties with organized crime. And those things wouldn't have been bad necessarily for either the white public or the black public, except that he came along during the height of the civil rights movement.
The NAACP in particular was looking for black role models, blacks to look up to. Floyd Patterson was one of those.
The NAACP, they were very unhappy with Liston's negative image, and they begged Patterson please don't take the fight.
They didn't want me to fight him either because there was a good chance of him winning the fight. And I guess if he should win the fight, he would represent the black race. I just felt that here's a man who's had a very similar life to mine, and I felt that he should get a chance, so I overrode my manager and I gave him a shot.
I think he's proved himself as far as being the #1 contender is concerned. I personally think that he has every right to fight for the championship, despite his unfortunate background.
Customato had no choice. He had to make the fight. So they fought September 25th, 1962 in Chicago.
And Floyd Patterson came into the ring, obviously terrified. He was like Ken Norton fighting George Foreman. He was like Michael Spinks fighting Mike Tyson. All you had to do was look at their eyes. And they were out already. They already had a glaze. And you knew, looking at Floyd Patterson, that it wasn't going to last very long.
The rest of the ring. And then smacks the left hand to the side of the head of Patterson. And Patterson's in trouble. The left hook smacks him down. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He is out.
If the public would let bygones be bygones, that I would be a good champ, maybe a better champ than he was, either just as good a champ as he was.
After Sonny won the title in Chicago, he was going through on a United flight back some of the things he was going to say at his reception at the airport. And he said, I know a lot of my own people were against me. And he said, I want to prove to them that I'm not going to disgrace them, I'm not going to embarrass them, that I'm going to make them proud. So when we finally landed in Philadelphia, he took a step outside the door of the cockpit and stood there for a moment, and he was looking. I could see him look both ways, and it was nothing. There was no evidence of any kind of activity, of organized activity in the way of welcome. And I could just see almost the air go out of him. I mean, these big, broad shoulders in front of me just seemed to sag with the recognition that there was no welcome here for him.
I think they should have a big parade, but it never happened. Just because they could give the guy a break some kind of way. But just a hurrah for 5 minutes. The man won the title. Anybody else, I imagine, it'd been 50,000 million people out there. Man with a championship, he's repping your city. Don't care what he is or what color he is. Give the man the credit, that's all.
A lot of people feel that that really crushed him emotionally and that he never really recovered from that disappointment, or really the realization that it didn't make any difference what Sonny Liston did. The rest of his life, he was always going to be branded as a bad guy.
Even after he became champion, the Philadelphia police, they went right on harassing him. It just petty things, picking him up for standing on a street corner talking to someone. For Sonny, the last straw is when they picked him up in the park for driving too slowly.
It was after that driving too slow in the park that he said that he was going on to Denver and that he would rather be a lamppost in Denver, I think he said, than the mayor of Philadelphia.
Well, Sonny, now you just recently bought a home here in Denver, thanks to Father Murphy. It's going to be your first home for a while? That's right.
Well, by this time, Sonny had made friends with his father Murphy in Denver, another Catholic priest. Sonny and Geraldine moved on to Denver. He wanted to be close to Father Murphy, and he hoped that would be the end of police harassment.
I think Murphy was maybe one of the few people, one, 2 or 3 people in this world that she never trusted. He was almost childlike around Father Murphy.
Father Murphy was like a father to Sonny. And he would talk and try to advise Sonny, to help Sonny out, to keep him out of trouble.
Father Murphy felt sorry for him. He used to say, we have to pray for the poor bastard. And that was because he was an accident waiting to happen.
When he was away from Father Murphy, and when Geraldine, his wife, was out of town, he'd drink too much. And that white caddy he'd get in it, and he'd run stop signs, and he'd exceed the speed limit, and he'd get stopped over